Hi, welcome to the Drumming with Sticks episode of Rhythm Phonics. You can't do a series on rhythm and percussion without talking about drumming with sticks. Most anyone could make a sound on a drum, but of course it takes an experienced percussionist or drummer to make great sounds. No two drummers or percussionists sound alike, in fact, not completely. And sometimes we strive to sound like our musical heroes, or we try to play very much alike to be in unison, for example, like in a marching percussion setting, or just to play very similarly to each other stylistically, like any instrumentalist might among like instruments in various settings. To play with sticks, we use rebound, very much like you bounce a basketball. If you bounce a basketball by dropping it, just using gravity, and I do the same with a stick, it doesn't quite bounce back to where you started, right? So you add a little energy from the wrist. I call that gravity plus, and that's a big part of how we play drums or any percussion instruments involving sticks, at least membranes that have rebound. Now to do this, we use different combinations of fingers, wrists, and arms. A simple demonstration can illustrate some of the difference in the results or the sound. If I play primarily from the wrist, it gives me the most precision and the most machine-like accuracy to rhythm. As I start to add more arm and finger motions, it opens up the tone, it sounds warmer, and there's a little bit of a feel factor in there. I use arms, of course, for long strokes to play really loud, for example, or also to get weight to the sound, and in tandem with wrist and fingers to play fast. And fingers, certainly the smallest group, can be used for speed and also to help with tone. For example, when I play rolls, combination of fingers, wrists, and arms. The fingers help me to get a second bounce from the stick. Or multiple bounces in the case of a buzz or multiple bounce roll. Speaking of rolls, I'm going to apply them in a rudimental context by performing an excerpt from Westbrook Muster. It's a rudimental solo by John S. Pratt. This is in a traditional style of rudimental drumming. We lost John Pratt this year in 2020. These pieces can also be played with a pedal bass drum or even seated at the drum set, which is kind of how the drum set came about at the very beginning of the 20th century, predating the John Pratt solos, but at the beginning of the 20th century in New Orleans through second line drumming, when those parts of the marching unit were then played by one player, that sort of became the drum set. Now we're going to actually go to Brazil and go from the traditional rudimental snare drum in the United States to the snare drum of Brazil, the caixa. And so I've invited Amy's back and we'll do some playing together.
So I will be playing a caixa, and as Andy said, this is a snare drum from Brazil. And you'll notice some differences from the typical snare drum that you would see in the United States on a drum set or in your concert or orchestra setting. You'll notice that the snares, in this case, are on the top head, and the player indeed plays on the snare side of the drum. In addition, this drum is typically played on a strap. So it's hung just like this. The pattern that I'll be playing is a typical pattern, a samba school pattern from the samba school, Mosi Doji.
Mosi Daji.
Mosi Daji, sorry. And it goes like this.
Beautiful. So the reason we're going to Brazil is not just for cultural diversity, but because we're going to show some duo playing just to get into some of the concepts of how we play together. So the music style that we're drawing on is the Carnival Samba of Rio, or Rio de Janeiro, and the competing samba schools, or escolas de samba, can have hundreds of percussionists in their large batteries of percussion. So Amy will be playing the Mosi Daji snare drum part, and I'll be playing a surdo, which is a bass drum. And in these carnival groups, there are typically three, in most groups, three sizes of surdus, many players on them. And the two largest drums kind of play a polka, dois, 1, 2, 1, 2. This will be the third surdo, or the smallest one, the terceiro, and it's cutting the rhythm. It's emphasizing beat 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, along with the largest surdo. However, it's also cutting up the rhythm with improvisational parts. And so Amy will provide the caixa part, and I'll play the third surdo part, which is improvisational. And this is meant to illustrate, again, not just the interest and the cultural diversity of it, and drumming with two sticks, drumming with one stick in a hand, and the stick being a felt mallet. But also, as we're playing together, and my part is more improvisational, Amy will create a kind of isometric where she knows to push the rhythm forward while my part gets more syncopated. Otherwise, we'll probably fall apart. So here's a little bit of Escola de Samba, or Samba Batucada, which is the carnival samba with just the drums.